Hello, my creative and spooky friends. Today, we're unveiling a treasure trove of spine-chilling DIY Halloween projects. So, grab your cauldron of creativity and get ready to brew up some Halloween magic. Let's get into it. For this first DIY project, I wanted to make a super creepy bleeding candle, so I headed to Dollar Tree to the candle section and picked up a pack of these red taper candles. I also grabbed this tall candle in the black color so that I can dip the red candle into the black wax. To melt the black candle, I'm going to set it in a pot of water and have it on a medium-high heat until it is completely melted. While that is melting, I'm going to work on setting up a rig to hang my candle on once I dip it. So, to create my rig, I'm tying a piece of twine around my cabinet handle, then I'm taking a bag clip and putting it over the twine and clipping onto the wick. I'm testing it out here, and it works perfectly. Once the black wax is completely melted, you're going to want to set up your candle dipping station. What you'll need is a tall cup of some cold water and a piece of paper or a paper towel to catch any drips that could happen. My taper candle was taller than the black candle, so I had to dip the bottom half first and then the top half. Once you dip it, immediately dunk it into the cold water. That will help it cool down faster so the wax will set. I ended up doing 2 coats of black wax on mine, but I would recommend only doing 1 coat because it's easier for it to create the bleeding effect when there's a thinner coat of the black on top. I'll leave it clipped onto my hanging rig here until I feel like the candle has completely cooled off, and now you have a spooky bleeding candle perfect for Halloween night. I've been seeing so many of these spiderweb wreaths going around the internet, so when I found this huge grapevine wreath at the thrift store for just $3, you guys, I knew it would be the perfect one for this project. I picked up 1 pack of faux stretchy spiderwebs from Walmart for $1.98, and I also grabbed these glittery spiders from Michael's. I got them for $2.99 each, and I got 2 packs, so that's a total of 12 spiders. Walmart has these same ones as well, and they also have a good selection of several different spiders and sizes. Creating this is super easy and only took me a couple of minutes to do. So you're just going to want to stretch out your spider web and wrap it all around your wreath. You can be very creative with this, put it on the entire wreath, or you can put it on half of the wreath, or maybe just put it on the inside rim. There are so many options here, and you just want to make sure that when you're doing this, you're making sure the web is wrapped around the sticks so that it's nice and secure, and you can keep this year after year for your decorating. It's super easy to just keep adjusting the webs to make it look exactly how you want it to look. To add the spiders, I'm just taking some hot glue and putting a little dot on the bottom and then sticking them in random places around the web. This project is really bringing the spooky vibes. I'm hanging this on my front door to give my trick-or-treaters a creepy crawly surprise on Halloween night. I've been so excited to try out these cheesecloth ghosts ever since they started trending recently. This technique has been around for quite a long time, but it's one I've never tried before myself, so let's get started. It's really important to lay down some plastic or parchment paper before you get started because the ghost will stick to anything that is paper or cloth. The most important part of this project is creating the molds for the ghosts. You can use so many different things, including 2-liter bottles, water bottles, cups, vases, or jars. You'll need something round to create the shape of the head, so I'll be using these 2 different size balls of yarn that I had on hand. To create the shape of their arms, I'm using a couple of pipe cleaners, which I'm going to mold in the direction that I would like their arms to be held. Once I'm happy with where they are, I'm taking some duct tape and securing them to the cups. I'm also duct taping the yarn to the cups so that everything is secure while my ghosts are drying. So remember how earlier I mentioned that the ghost will stick to anything that's cloth. So I'm going to be covering up my molds in plastic wrap so that they don't stick to the yarn. I'm going to duct tape that plastic wrap in place to keep it secure. I'll be using this cheesecloth fabric that I picked up from the Walmart craft section for just a couple of dollars. This fabric is super great for this project because it's very thin and lightweight, so it's going to allow your ghost to stand on its own and not be too heavy. I'm going to drape the fabric over my molds until I'm happy with how it looks. The key here is to remember that however you lay your fabric is how the shape of your ghost will look. So pay extra close attention to accentuating every part of the ghost shape. Make sure that you're pushing the fabric down into the little elbows and shoulders of the ghost so that when it's dry, it's going to create that shape as if it's their arms. Also make sure that there's enough cloth on the ground to hold up the ghost after it dries. I will be using the spray version of the laundry starch in the heavy, crisp finish and really dousing the fabric in it. I see many people using the liquid starch, and to do that method, you soak the fabric in it and then wring it out before putting it over the mold. And that is definitely a great technique. Either method will work. If you like the way one layer of fabric looks, then at this point you can just let it dry. But if you want your ghost to be a bit more opaque, then you can add a second layer of fabric and give it a good spray of the starch as well. Do not be shy with the spray and really get it into every single part of the fabric so that the ghost can support itself. Here's a couple of notes that I wanted to mention. I did cover the pipe cleaners with duct tape because the cheesecloth was sticking in the fibers of the pipe cleaners. Also, since I'm doing 2 layers of fabric, I am spraying the starch after both the first and second layers just to make sure that each part of the fabric is perfectly saturated. I left these to dry overnight and made sure they were 100% dry before carefully removing the molds. To make the eyes, I'm just cutting ovals in some black construction paper and then using some hot glue to attach them. You can also use black felt if you have that on hand. These ghosts make a really adorable and spooky focal point for any Halloween decorations. This next spooky project is this bubbling and smoking witch's brew cauldron. I went to Walmart to grab a plastic cauldron, and luckily they had just one left. Unfortunately, all of the black ones were sold out, so we'll just have to do a little bit of DIYing to make this purple one black. So I'm simply taking this flat black spray paint and I gave it one coat, which was enough to cover up all of the purple. And then I let that dry. To make this a smoking cauldron, I'll be putting a diffuser inside it. So I'll need to make a hole in the back for my cord to go through. So I'm taking a large drill bit that is slightly bigger than the size of my cord, and I'm just going to drill a hole right in the back of the cauldron. Next, I'm sticking my cord through and plugging in my diffuser and then setting it inside. Filling it up with some witch's brew, aka water, and popping the lid on. I'm taking some of my leftover faux spider web from my wreath and putting it on top to cover the diffuser and to make it look like a bubbling stew. My diffuser lights up, which is definitely a bonus, but if yours doesn't, then I'd recommend adding some fairy lights inside for that glowing effect. I'm so in love with how this turned out. It adds the perfect spooky vibe to my kitchen. Checkerboard print is back in style, and I'm really loving the checkered pumpkins I've seen in stores. I have this sad little pumpkin that has definitely seen better days and is super dirty from being outside for several years, but I think we can give it new life with a good clean and a paint job. I'm using a paper towel and all-purpose cleaner to wipe away the dirt and dust so it doesn't get into our paint. It has these metal leaves on it that I'll be spray painting with this metallic champagne bronze color. After that has dried, it's time to paint. I picked up these sponge brushes from Dollar Tree and I'm going to paint the entire pumpkin with Popular Gray by Sherwin-Williams. I did 2 coats total. After that has dried, I'm drawing lines with a pencil for my checkerboard print. So I'm just freehanding some horizontal lines around my pumpkin using the creases as guidelines. If that method doesn't work for you, you can also use painter's tape to mark your squares that way. To mark which squares will be painted, I'm just writing a letter X in every other box. You can go with any color scheme you want for your pattern. I wanted my darker color to be a warm brownish gray, so I'm using some beige paint that I had and I'm mixing it with this black acrylic paint from Dollar Tree and some of this brown acrylic paint from the craft store. And I ended up with this color, which I'm pretty happy with, so now I'm going to paint it in every square where I wrote the X. I think this turned out amazing and is perfect for a Halloween decoration that is a little more cute than it is spooky. And that is all for this video's spooky Halloween DIYs. Until next time, stay creepy, stay creative, and most importantly, stay spooky. I'll see you next time.